The village of Amaala was tucked between rolling green hills and thick, whispering forest. Rivers ran like silver ribbons, and the morning smelled of wet earth, fresh yams, and smoke from clay stoves. Birds sang in the trees while children ran barefoot along the dusty paths, chasing chickens or playing with handmade dolls. Every house had a thatched roof, and the villagers' days followed the rhythm of the sun and the seasons. Among all the villagers, 2 girls stood out. They were Ugo and Ola, best friends since they could remember. They were both 19, but where Ola's beauty caught everyone's eye, Ugo's kindness captured hearts. Ola's skin was smooth and dark like polished ebony. Her hair fell in long braids that shimmered in the sunlight. Her eyes sparkled with laughter, and her smile could make even the grumpiest villager soften. People often stopped and stared at her when she passed, whispering, "She looks like a princess from the old stories." Ugo's beauty was quieter. She had a warm smile and gentle eyes, and a heart so big that she would give her last piece of yam to anyone hungry. She helped elders carry firewood, taught children to read, and shared whatever she had. Everyone loved her, but no one admired her the way they admired Ola. At first, Ugo didn't mind. She genuinely loved her friend. But over time, a feeling began to creep into her heart. A strange, sharp pain that made her chest tighten whenever someone praised Ola's beauty. Ugo tried to ignore it, telling herself she was proud of her friend. Yet, every whisper, every glance, every compliment that Ola received made that pain grow bigger. Ugo's jealousy was like a tiny seed buried deep in her heart. She tried to water it with kindness to herself, reminding herself of her own good qualities, but the seed grew anyway. The day came when the village prepared for the Festival of Beads, the grandest celebration Amaala had. It only happened once every 5 years, and everyone looked forward to it. Girls wore bright wrappers and coral beads, and they braided flowers into their hair. The village elders chose a lead maiden, the girl who would dance first and lead the festival. This year, it was Ola. "Look at her," villagers whispered. "She is the star of Amaala. See her glow like the sun," others said. Ugo clapped beside her friend, but inside, her heart twisted. She smiled on the outside, but a storm brewed inside her chest. That evening, the girls practiced their dances near the river. Ugo tried to keep up, but her feet felt heavy, her hands shaky. She watched Ola glide effortlessly, her beads sparkling in the firelight, her laughter floating on the breeze. Every step Ola took made Ugo feel smaller, as if her own light was disappearing. After practice, Ugo walked alone to the stream to fetch water. The moon shone bright and silver, casting shadows on the ground. As she knelt to fill her clay pot, she felt someone watching her. A soft voice called, "Ugo." She froze. Turning, she saw an old woman standing beneath the tall palm trees. She was small, with wrinkled skin and eyes sharp as a hawk's. The woman's gaze pierced right into Ugo's heart. "You are troubled," the woman said. "Your heart is heavy with jealousy." Ugo swallowed hard. She had never spoken her feelings aloud. How could this woman know? The old woman smiled thinly and held out a small brown calabash, etched with strange markings. "Inside is a powder," she said. "Just a little in your friend's food, and her beauty will sleep. People will notice her less, and your heart will feel lighter." Ugo felt a shiver run down her spine. I can't hurt Ola," she whispered. The woman's eyes glimmered in the moonlight. "Hurt? Who said anything about hurting? Sometimes beauty needs to sleep so another can shine." Ugo's mind raced. She thought about all the praise Ola received, all the attention, and all the moments she had been ignored. That little seed of jealousy, which had been growing quietly for years, now bloomed into a storm. By the next morning, Ugo had made her choice. The morning of the festival arrived. Amaala was alive with excitement. Drums beat in the square, and villagers gathered, singing and clapping. The aroma of fried plantains, roasted yams, and pepper soup filled the air. Ola looked like a queen in her bright yellow wrapper adorned with red coral beads. Her hair was braided beautifully with tiny shells. She smiled at everyone, and people smiled back. Ugo stood beside her, carrying a bowl of okpa, Ola's favorite food. She placed it carefully in front of her friend. "Eat, Ola. You'll need strength for the dance," she said softly. Ola picked up the food and smiled. "Thank you, Ugo. You always take care of me." Ugo's chest tightened. She wanted to be proud of her gift, but the dark thought in her mind whispered louder than her love for Ola. Ola ate, and with each bite, Ugo felt a mixture of fear and anticipation. Suddenly, Ola froze. Her hand shook. Her smile disappeared. "Ugo, I feel dizzy." Before anyone could react, Ola collapsed. Beads spilled across the ground. Villagers screamed. Women cried out. Men rushed to lift her gently. The healer checked her immediately, pressing her pulse and examining her carefully. "This is not normal sickness," he said gravely. "Something has entered her body." Whispers spread like wildfire through the villagers. "Did you go do this?" "Jealousy always brings trouble," one said. Ugo stood frozen, her heart pounding. She had given Ola the powder. The old woman's words had worked. But now, her triumph felt like a heavy stone in her chest. That night, Ugo could not sleep. She stared at the moon over the river, thinking of Ola lying unconscious, and her heart filled with dread. By morning, the villagers would want answers, and she knew the truth would crush her completely. The morning after the festival, Amaala felt strangely quiet. Usually, the village square would be alive with the chatter of children and the calls of market vendors, but now the streets were almost empty. People whispered as they walked, their eyes flicking toward Ola's house. Ola lay on a mat in her room, pale and still. Her mother sat beside her, holding her hand, crying softly. Even the healer, who had treated many illnesses, looked worried. Ugo stood at the edge of the doorway, her hands trembling. She wanted to run, to disappear into the forest, but her feet would not move. The villagers whispered questions, their suspicious looks made her heart pound faster. "She hasn't woken yet," the healer said gravely. "This is not ordinary sickness. Something entered her body." The villagers exchanged nervous glances. Some whispered about old stories, about spirits punishing jealousy, about curses that could strike someone who tried to take another's light. Ugo's chest tightened. She knew the truth. She had poisoned her best friend. She had given her the powder from the old woman's calabash. For the next few days, Ugo could barely eat or sleep. Everywhere she went, people stared at her. Children avoided her, villagers whispered when she passed, and even her own reflection seemed to scold her. At night, she would sit by her window, staring at the moon over the river where she had met the old woman. Every ripple of water reminded her of Ola's bright eyes, and every shadow in the trees seemed to whisper, "You did this." The village healer tried everything he could to save Ola. He brewed special herbs, whispered prayers, and even called on the spirits of the forest for help. But day by day, Ola grew weaker. Her breathing was shallow, and her body seemed smaller, like her light was slowly fading from the world. Ugo's jealousy, which had once felt like a small seed in her heart, now felt like a storm. She hated herself, but she was also afraid. She feared the villagers would punish her, feared that Ola might never wake, and feared the old woman's mysterious promise that beauty has a price. On the 5th day, the elders of Amaala gathered in the square. They had been observing Ugo closely, noticing her strange behavior. "Ugo," Elder Chike said in his deep, serious voice, "we know something is wrong. Tell us the truth." Ugo's throat felt tight. Her hands shook. She wanted to deny it, to hide, but her conscience would not let her. I gave her food," she whispered. I didn't mean to hurt her. I was jealous of her beauty. I wanted people to notice me too. The villagers gasped. Some cried. Some shook their heads in disbelief. The healer's face was grim. The powder she ate was strong. Very strong. I fear that no medicine may help her. Ugo's stomach sank. She had wanted only to feel noticed for a moment, but now her friend, her sister of the heart, was lying motionless. That night, Ugo heard a soft, frightening voice outside her window. It was the old woman, her eyes glowing in the silver moonlight. You chose jealousy, she said. You cannot take it back. Beauty has a price, and now, you will pay. Please. Ugo cried. I'm sorry. I didn't know it would go this far. The woman's eyes gleamed. She did not answer. She only disappeared into the shadows, leaving Ugo shivering in the cold night air. Ugo stayed awake all night, replaying the events in her mind. Every bite of okpa she had given Ola, every whisper of villager suspicion, every moment she had wished for attention, it all weighed on her. The guilt was heavier than she had ever felt before. The next morning, the villagers gathered again. Ola had passed away during the night. The healer shook his head sadly. Ugo fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. The villagers' eyes were filled with sadness and anger. No one came near her. She felt the full weight of her actions crushing her, and the village square, once full of music and laughter, now felt cold and silent. Ugo's best friend, the girl she loved like a sister, was gone forever. Her jealousy, which had seemed so small at first, had grown into a storm that destroyed the most precious thing in her life. The elders whispered among themselves, and the villagers slowly returned to their work, but the story of Ugo and Ola spread through Amaala and beyond. Parents told their children, jealousy is a shadow. It grows fast, and if you feed it, it will destroy the light you love most. Ugo remained in Amaala, helping the villagers like she used to, but she was never happy again. Every time she saw flowers, or the river sparkle, or a smile, she remembered Ola. Every night, under the same moon where she had first met the old woman, she whispered apologies to the friend she had lost forever. Amaala returned to its usual rhythm. Children played, rivers sparkled, and the sun rose and set. But the story of Ugo and Ola stayed alive in the hearts of the villagers. They remembered that friendship is precious, beauty is fleeting, and jealousy can be deadly.